Thank you. Members, we'll now move to the Senate third reading. Secretary, please read. Excuse me. We'll move to file item 11. Pass on file. All right. File item 12, Senator Morell. Pass on file. File item 20, Senator Stone. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 66 by Senator Stone relative to the 71st anniversary of D-Day, the invasion of Normandy.
Thank you,
Senator
Mr. President. Members, as you're aware, this last Saturday, June the 6th, was the 71st anniversary of the D-Day invasion of Normandy, marking the turning point of World War II. Planning for the invasion, also known as Operation Overlord, began 2 years prior. As D-Day approached, the Allied forces launched an initial operation dubbed Operation Bodyguard. This was a series of illusions and deceptions to prevent the Nazis from knowing the true time and place of the invasion of Normandy. What began on June 6, 1945, was the largest seaborne invasion in history. The target was 50 miles of beach broken into 5 sections: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword. Nearly 5,000 landing and assault craft, 289 escort vessels, and 277 minesweepers participated. Nearly 160,000 troops crossed the English Channel on D-Day under the direction of General Dwight D. Eisenhower and General Bernard Montgomery. 39 Allied divisions would be committed to the Battle of Normandy, 22 American, 12 British, 3 Canadian, 1 Polish, and 1 French. It would not be until June the 12th until all 5 beaches were connected and held by Allied forces, a front that was nearly 60 miles long. It was a costly and bloody battle with an estimated 5,400 casualties from the United States alone. It will go down in history not only for its brilliance in military tactics and scope, but for what it meant for the turning tide of war. The invasion gave the Allies a foothold in Western Europe that would eventually lead to the full fall of the Nazi regime and the end of World War II. Members of the Senate, please join me in honoring all the brave soldiers who fought and died during the invasion of Normandy, who gave their life to fight to save the world from tyranny. I would respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing none, members, is there any objection to using our unanimous roll call of 40-0? Seeing none, ayes 40, noes 0, measure passes. We'll move on now to file item 21, Senator Stone. Pass on file. File item 22, Senator Galgiani. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution number 68 by Senator Galgiani relative to 2015 California Invasive Species Action Week.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. SCR 68 would declare June 6th through the 14th as the 2015 California Invasive Species Action Week. Organized by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, the California Invasive Species Action Week is designed to promote public awareness of invasive species issues and encourage all Californians to take action to prevent their spread. Invasive species such as water hyacinth, Asian citrus psyllid, quagga mussels, and yellow star thistle threaten California's environment, economy, water, and agriculture. Their destructive impact is profound, causing enormous losses of private and public resources by destroying crops, clogging waterways, wasting valuable water resources, and increasing the frequency and intensity of wildfires. As chair of the Subcommittee on Invasive Species, I've been continuously engaged in resolving our invasive species problems, and many of us here today know too well the damage caused by water hyacinth in the Delta and the devastating impact of Pierce's disease on our grapevines. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Great. Thank you, Senator Galgiani. Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing none. Members, any objection to using the unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 40, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. Members, we're now going to move forward to the Assembly third reading. First file item is item 27. Senator Lara? Great. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 165 by Assemblymember Gomez, an act relating to state claims, making an appropriation therefore, and declaring the urgency of to take effect immediately.
Senator Lara?
Thank you, Mr. President and members. AB 165 is an urgency measure to appropriate approximately $1.47 million to the Victims' Compensation and Government Claims Board for the payment of 113 state claims. All but 3 of these claims are for reissuing state checks that were never cashed. The bill also includes general fund appropriations to pay 3 claims for compensation related to the erroneous convictions of Susan Mellon, Ronald Ross, and Brian Banks. In all of these cases, convictions were overturned with the court's finding of factual innocence. Under current law, these individuals are eligible for payment from the state without a hearing from the Victims' Comp Board. The Department of Finance has approved payment of these 3 claims, all of which are valid obligations of the state. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Lara. Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing none. Members, any objection to using our unanimous roll call? Seeing none. Ayes 40, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 40, no 0 on the measure. We'll now move to file item 32. Senator Berryhill? Not at his desk. Senator Berryhill, file item 32. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 475 by Assemblymember Bigelow, an act relating to tribal gaming and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. It is my privilege today to present AB 475. 475 ratifies the gaming compact negotiated between the state of California and the Jackson Rancheria Band of Miwok Indians, a tribe I am honored to represent. If ratified by the legislature and approved by the Department of Interior, the compact would replace the 1999 tribal gaming contract currently in effect, which expires in 2020. With any compact, it's always critically important to have local support, and this compact has just that. Amador County, the City of Jackson, and Amador County Sheriff Martin Ryan have all publicly shared their support for the compact. The tribe maintains a tremendous working relationship with the community and the surrounding local governments, and the provisions of this compact will allow that to continue for years to come. Further, the compact has support from other tribal governments from across the state. This is a good compact, and I urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Berryhill. Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing none. Members, is there any objection to using the unanimous roll call? Seeing none. Ayes 40, no 0. Measure passes. Ayes 40, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 40, no 0 on the measure. Thank you. Members, we'll now return to motions and resolutions. Senators De Leon, McGuire, Leyva, Bates, Morlock, and Bell. Under motions and resolutions, this would be the time to adjourn in memory. Senator Leyva, and then Senator Bell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, members. It is with great sadness that I ask that we adjourn in memory today of Dana Housley, a vibrant young woman who passed away on Wednesday, May 27th at the young age of 15. The weekend before she passed, Dana had been playing for the California Thunder softball team in a tournament at Veterans Park in Fontana in the heart of SD20. Dana was in the batter's box in the last inning of the game when, without notice, she began to feel dizzy and collapsed. She was then rushed and placed on life support in the ICU at a local hospital in Fontana. Unfortunately, beautiful Dana Housley passed away from this unexpected brain aneurysm. Dana was a 15-year-old star softball player who had just finished her freshman year at Etiwanda High School in Rancho Cucamonga in Senator Morales' district. In the hours after she first collapsed, a hashtag quickly emerged, hashtag Pray for Dana, where people from all around the state, the nation, and even the world came together to pray for this beautiful young woman who was fighting for her life. Unfortunately, she ultimately lost that fight, but we pray that her family will find solace knowing that we all stand with them during this very difficult and painful time. Losing anyone, especially for those of us who are parents, we know is incredibly difficult. Today, the California State Senate stands with the Housley family as they mourn their tremendous loss following Dana's passing. I hope you'll join me in adjourning in memory of Dana Housley. Thank you.
Senator Leyva, our thoughts and prayers go to the Dana Housley family. Senator Bell, and then Senator McGuire.
Mr. President, members, I rise today in honor of Reverend Deacon Sal Alvarez. Sal Alvarez was a resident of East San Jose and touched our community in more ways than we can imagine. His passion for community works was showed by the work he did every day. He was a father and friend, and for many, a role model. I remember when I met Sal about 40 years ago when I was working in the fields as a student, and I attended a meeting of the United Farm Workers Organizing Committee in Santa Clara County in the Gilroy area. And Sal talked about the dream of having an Agricultural Relations Act, and he was the legislative director of the United Farm Workers with fighting alongside with Cesar Chavez. He rolled up his sleeve and went to work. He worked in terms of social justice, in the power to help, and there can always be a change in the world if one person believes in good. And his work speaks for himself. He served on many organizations, including the chair of the National LULAC Health Commission. He was executive director of Dolores Huerta Foundation. Lately, him and I worked with the State Department of Social Services due to disparities existing in the care of foster kids for the Latino community, and the Latino Concerns Committee was created at his suggestion in the Department of Social Services for the state. Now, this list goes on and on. He was also my appointee to the state Democrat Party Central Committee for Senate District 15. He was a Reverend Deacon in the church, Catholic Church, and a social justice champion nationally. One day I was in Washington, D.C., back in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol building, and I ran into Sal Alvarez grabbing legislatures and lobbying in Washington, D.C. He had a tendency to grab you and pull you away, classic lobbying technique that he had, and lobby for the United Farm Workers in Washington, D.C. California has lost a champion and an activist who has taught us all that while the fight continues, the victories along the way should not be neglected. Because no matter how small or large the victory, it's the victories that lift us up and continue our march towards justice. You will be remembered, my friend, but we will all continue to fight the fight. Thank you, Sal Alvarez.
Great. Thank you, Senator Bell, and our thoughts and prayers go to the Sal Alvarez family. I will now move to Senator McGuire. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Senator Monning?
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to speak on
Sure.
this most recent adjournment for Deacon Sal Alvarez. I had the honor of knowing Deacon Alvarez for several decades, starting during my work with the United Farm Workers Union. In recent years, I knew Sal as a strong voice and advocate working with the Dolores Huerta Foundation. And even when he was in failing health, he continued to be present here in Sacramento at committee hearings. And as my colleague just mentioned, Sal had a unique lobbying style, which was in your face and aggressive, but he left an impression, and he was led by the strongest of values and an even stronger heart. He will be missed. He was an institution with the UFW, with the Dolores Huerta Foundation in the area of San Jose, an institution unto himself. So our condolences to his network of friends.
Thank you, Senator Monning. Senator De Leon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to add a few words along with the good senators from San Jose as well as Carmel. Sal Alvarez was a giant. He was the right-hand man to Dolores Huerta. And I can say from personal experience, times when I'd be going down the hallway, whether on the 5th or 4th or 2nd floor, and Sal Alvarez would be stalking me or chasing me down the hallway and trying to get across a point that he thought was truly important, obviously, for the impoverished, for those who are marginalized. He's a man who's dedicated his life, obviously, to those who have been historically marginalized, either socioeconomically and or politically. A very good man, a very good family. He's an individual who will be sorely missed, who committed much of his life, again, to the marginalized. And he played such a big role, especially in the San Jose area. He's a man, again, a wonderful man, and he'll be sorely missed.
Great. Thank you, Senator De Leon. Anybody else would like to speak on Mr. Alvarez? Okay, seeing none, we'll now move to Senator McGuire.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Thank you so much. And I do rise to adjourn in memory of Ruth Callahan Brown. Ms. Brown passed away this month, just a few weeks shy of her 92nd birthday. Mrs. Brown and her husband, George, built their home and amazing vineyard in the Russian River region near Healdsburg 46 years ago after George retired from the San Francisco Fire Department. Ruth grew up in a challenging age, the Great Depression, and she served our great nation. Ruth served during World War II in the United States Coast Guard and was stationed in San Francisco. But her greatest pride, besides serving her country, has always been her family, especially her 12 grandchildren and 12 great-grandkids. She instilled in them the importance of being frugal, honest, working hard, but most of all, always having integrity. She was a generous mom and grandmother with her fresh baked apple pies and potato salad, her beautiful garden, and most of all, her sage advice for her entire family. Mrs. Brown is survived by her husband, George, her 3 daughters, her 12 proud grandkids, and grateful 12 great-grandchildren as well. And we adjourn in her memory. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Great. Thank you, Senator McGuire. And our thoughts and prayers go to Ruth Brown and their family. We'll now move to Senator Bates.
Yes, Mr. President, I would like to adjourn in memory for Brent Wynn Layton, a longtime resident of the Escalon area. As a state senator, I have the privilege of meeting many special and memorable people every day. Brent was one of those such people. I recently met him when he came to Sacramento just a few weeks ago to testify in support of Senate Bill 257, which I was proud to author, and it passed unanimously off the floor last week. Losing his firstborn son, James Doc Ray Layton, when he was killed in action in 2009 in Afghanistan. He brought a unique perspective in his testimony supporting the personalization of the Gold Star family license plate. Soon after losing his son, Brent became a Gold Star father, and his mission in life was to then embrace other Gold Star families and help them through the grieving process. His passion for Gold Star families was very evident in the short time I spent with him. He served as deputy sheriff in Kern County, California, Clark County, Arkansas, as well as a peace officer for the Escalon Police Department, where he retired. Notably, he was a gifted guitar player and befriended by many musicians. It is my hope we can see Senate Bill 257 through to the end, so the family of Brent may finally be able to personalize the Gold Star family license plates, and his son James's legacy will live on. Please keep his family in your prayers as you leave this floor today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bates. Our thoughts and prayers are with Brent Wynn Layton of Escalon. Thank you. Now, Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to adjourn today in memory of Jan Hendrikus de Boer, also known as Uncle John to me. He was born August 7th, 1923 in the Netherlands and passed away just 4 days before the 71st anniversary of D-Day. When Germany invaded the Netherlands on May 10th, he was only 16 years old, and for a good portion of the war, he would have to go in hiding in order to avoid being conscripted either into the German army or into slave labor in the factories. So I certainly appreciate SCR 66, which we approved unanimously today. He immigrated to the United States and was a proud American. He was a farmer. He would visit Orange County in California often. He had 3 siblings there and all of their kids, including myself, one of his nephews. He said he could afford to come to California on vacation from the interest on his losses. Sorry, a little humor there. He is survived by his wife, my Aunt Tina, and his daughter, Hilda, and my mother, who had 6 siblings, and now she's the last one left. So want to remember my aunt and my cousin at this time of loss. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Morlock, and our thoughts and prayers go to Mr. de Boer and the family. Senator Fuller.
Motions and resolutions, please.
Yes.
I would like to have the following items from the Senate inactive file to the active file. File item A1 SCR 7, file item A2 SCR 8, file item A3 SCR 11, and file item A4 SCR 15.
The desk will note. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, anything else under motions and resolutions? Senator De Leon, did you have anything else?
Yeah, Mr. President, we actually have 2 final adjournment in memories. One is for the family, the Bueno family. I rise to adjourn in the memory of Ramon Bueno, who passed away on May 25th. An immigrant from Mexico, Mr. Bueno was born on March the 3rd, 1931 in La Pimienta, Zacatecas. He was a family man and a hard worker, spending several years as a gardener at the Friendly Hills Country Club in Whittier, California. Ramon Bueno was a longtime resident of the city of Norwalk. He was married to Esther Bueno, and they had 6 children, Delia, Ray, Elena, Norma, Martin, and Jerry. He also leaves behind him 18 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. Our prayers are with the Bueno family at this moment. And finally, Mr. President, I rise in the memory to adjourn in the memory of Mervyn Field, the creator of the field pole. He died today at the age of 94. Now, Mervyn Field defined California politics, and it was an influential voice on the national political scene for more than 65 years. Mervyn Field was born on March 11th, 1921 in New Brunswick, New Jersey, the 5th child of Isidore Field and Yeti Siegel, both immigrants from Eastern Europe. Field's mother fell ill following his birth, and a lot of folks don't know, but Mervyn Field spent time in an orphanage, eventually living with an aunt and uncle who raised him until the age of 15. While in high school, he lived on his own, supporting himself as a grocery clerk and a gas station and a parking lot attendant. He met back in 1937 in junior high school a gentleman by the name of George Gallup. He eventually went on to work for Gallup, and the rest is history. After serving in the Merchant Marines during World War II, Field found founded the Field Research Group, which did opinion and market research for clients in California, but also included what was originally called the California Poll. It was later renamed the Field Poll. So obviously when you hear about the Field Poll and you hear such a big name nationally, it was originally the California Poll. Over its 67-year history, the Field Poll has published more than 2,500 reports and has built a national reputation as an independent, nonpartisan public opinion news service. Back in 1984, roughly about 21 years ago, so 31 years ago, I should say, the San Jose Mercury News Field called the most cited source in the world on what Californians think, what they love, what they vote, what they hate, what they fear, what they eat, what they drink, and what they smoke, end quote. In 2010 and again in 2014, Nate Silver's influential 538.com website ranked the Field Poll among the top 3 U.S. polling organizations in pre-election polling accuracy. Field was an avid tennis player, a bridge player, and an accomplished chess player. He was an aficionado of jazz as well as stand-up comedy. Field leaves a daughter, Nancy, of Oakland, a son, David, of San Rafael, and a daughter, Melanie, and a son-in-law, John La Cuadra, and a grandson, Dante La Cuadra, of Novato. With that, Mr. President, and I don't know, perhaps if the good senator from Hillsburg may want, no? Okay. With that, may we all rise together, may we adjourn together in the memory of a giant of California politics and quantitative research. That's Mr. Mervyn Field.
Great. Thank you, Senator De Leon. And our thoughts and prayers go to both the Raymond Bueno family and the Mervyn Field family. If there be no further business, Senator De Leon, the desk is clear.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we will adjourn on Thursday at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. The Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene on Thursday at 9 a.m. Thank you.